Industrial Development Agency Governance Committee meeting. It's April 16th, 2025. The time is 3:12. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm Jeff Christ. I'm filling in for Linda Muller, our chairwoman of this committee today. And Bill, roll call, please.
Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Dean Tamburri.
Here.
Dr. Vincent Odock.
Here.
3 of our 5 members here, both Linda Muller and Giovanni Palladino, are absent. For staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Barras is on remotely, and Dylan Burke is handling our audio-visual. We have Rudy Zoda, our general counsel, and Mr. Brian Sandvidge, our monitor, remotely.
Thank you, Bill. We did have proof of notice for this meeting. It's in the board packet and it was duly noticed. Moving on to the minutes from our March 19th, 2025 Governance Committee with the IDA. Any additions, corrections, or a motion to accept?
I move.
Motion to accept the minutes. Thank you, Doc Odock. Second?
Second.
Second by Dean Tamburri. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Moving on to policy review update. Bill, please.
Terrific. As you'll recall, last month in this meeting, we scrutinized this revised personnel policy in great detail. We went page by page. We just had a few follow-up items. In your packet, starting on page 6, is my email correspondence with Mike Starvaggi from Bleakley Platt. We worked on this. You see my comments after the board meeting that came out of the meeting, and then his comments in red. I'd like to go through that. In your packet is the revised policy with, I'm sorry for the small type, with the comments and the crossed out sections and all of that. I also create a little packet for you that has just the changes that the pages that change. So I think we can go through that and following Mike's email. Starting on page 11, he took out some of the gender language and updated the points of contact. We do have one change, page 11 is taking out some of the gender language. The next is page 15, where you change contact information. We just need to make one more change where we have Director of Administration in here twice, but with the address in Poughkeepsie for our HR services company. So we're just gonna change where it says in the first paragraph that you see edits to, where it says, Director of Administration at the following address, 53 Academy Ave, Poughkeepsie. That's going to be 4 Crotty Lane. So we're going to make that change. And then at the end of that paragraph, same thing. Director of Administration at 4 Crotty Lane. It's a difference. If they don't get a response after a complaint has been filed, then our HR services company comes into play then, and then they can call them. So that's a change there. So if you were at the end of this to approve adoption of this, it would be with that change for sure. Next is page 33, paid holidays. You can see the edits in there. I provided this. I contacted all of my fellow colleagues that run IDAs, and I heard from 4 of them back. You can kind of see what's in there. The first column is what we currently offer, which you see is the best around. That was pretty good there. And we just suggested taking out Good Friday, even though we could lose that in 2 days.
Doesn't take effect till next week.
That's what we're going to discuss. Actually, we'll get to that point. Actually, the adoption date. So, Election Day we took out and kept a half day at Christmas Eve, and took out any sort of time off for New Year's Eve. So we thought that this was pretty much in line while not taking too many benefits away from the employees. And the way I have it under the second column proposed is what we had the attorney updated for. So if anyone has any feedback on that or any proposed changes, then we could further edit it. So that's pages 33 and 34 of the policy.
Because an employee can take personal time on election day.
Correct. What I
to vote.
What I certainly plan to do is, if anyone needs time to vote,
Yes.
they can do that.
Yes. Yep.
But they don't need the whole day off.
No, I agree.
That's really the idea,
Yeah,
is to
got it.
accommodate them as needed,
Thanks.
for sure. So those are the dates. So he made those changes. Then we get to sick leave. And this is one of the things we have to figure out to do. I asked Mike to look into this further, but he hasn't responded yet, but with the answer. An IDA is a corporate governmental agency. There's no case law that proves or solidifies that IDAs must offer New York paid sick leave and paid family leave. So he's gonna do some additional research at our request to ensure that the IDA is in fact a governmental agency for the purposes of paid leave. He did say that we could include them, we can offer this regardless if it's mandatory. That's something to consider. And he also suggested, and he added some language here about prenatal care, because there is a amendment to the labor law 196-B that became effective this past January, and it requires employees to be provided with 20 hours of paid leave time per year to be used for prenatal health care service appointments for a pregnancy. So that language is in there. I assume we include it since it's something that's current now. But those are the two things on this section. Yes, sir.
Now, the paid leave, sick days, and so on, have you been privileged to see what entails in other ideas?
No, but that's a good question. I could find out what others do. Yeah.
And IDAs you're speaking to, other IDAs?
Yes, other ideas, to see what entails.
Yeah. Okay. Want me to go through it all and just want to have some discussion on any of it? We can?
Sure.
I can finish off here.
Yep.
So, page 34, page 53. Kind of in the middle, you see the blue there. See how he wrote it. Oh, that was just a typo. He cleaned up
Yeah.
on that one. Next one was, do board members sign this policy, was a question from the committee. No, they don't need to. Obviously, they adopt it, but they don't. CEO or person designated by CEO for confidential company info. I didn't mention that, but
They don't sound that they have reviewed it or anything. That's
no,
all.
nope, nothing like that. And then the last piece was a question about immigration status in terms of employment, given the president's stance currently. And this, his response was, does not need to be in the handbook. Oh, I guess I missed this piece, the other thing on social media.
As long as you don't alter it or something.
Yeah, it'd say also, also in this section, under use of IDA trademarks, members were asked if they're forbidden from sharing on social media posts under this, and he did clarify that to not be a concern.
Correct. They can share it, obviously you can't alter it, but you can share it.
Exactly. That's it. So he added clarification on that. That's everything that we discussed last month. And did I skip this thing on July?
Yes.
I did, right? Man, okay. Okay, related to COVID, last month we asked why there's any mention of COVID after most public guidance and related policies have been eliminated. One policy reference expires in July, so it soon won't be relevant. So they asked if we should remove this altogether. The response was it's fine, the only reason to leave it in is for the final benefit that expires in July. He suggests we remove the whole section, but also recommends that the handbook effective date be put off to July 31st. The only concern there is that we want other sections of it to be, could be adopted.
I did just speak with him.
Okay,
And
thank you, Rudy.
the COVID section 5.4
Three?
3 was deleted in its entirety, but he did tell me that in section 4.6, the last paragraph does deal with COVID, and it does say that that expires on July 31st. So that's an automatic termination of the COVID as of that date. So there would be no issue with
Terrific,
having it effective before that date.
great, great.
So then we could take action.
Yes, the only other questions that are open
Yeah.
is, do we wanna add this prenatal section?
Mhm.
And, you know, all that language. And then there's just a question about paid sick leave and paid family leave, because they're not certain that we have to do it. We are, because if we do, if we're a governmental agency, I mean, I always say we're a quasi-governmental agency, but I do think we tend to, you know, fall under that a lot, so I don't know if we want to include it past this, and then if we find out we don't need it, that we could remove it and pass it again, or we could wait till next month when we have an answer on this piece.
What's the potential impact to us by having it in there? There's some
We just have-
expenses associated with it potentially.
Correct. I mean, it's between now and,
But don't we have, do we have, the paid family leave, isn't there like a policy, like you have an insurance for that, that way you pay so much per, isn't it? The
I don't think we're paying in for
family
family leave, I don't know, but,
medical leave?
but we do have to provide it, is my understanding, so, but that's what,
Like a
that's,
carrier.
so that's the additional question,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, I apologize, Jeff, but the question is, do we leave it in and just pass it the way it is, correct? If we do that, you could always, I mean, I personally just wanna finish this thing, you know.
I know,
just-
so do I, I'm
Yeah.
anxious to.
So I really like, and I think you do as well, Jeff,
Yeah.
you've like, you know,
Yes.
exhausted on it and it's cleaned it up tremendously with
Yeah.
attorneys looking at it. I would just like to leave it and pass it, and if there's an issue later on, just make sure we have all our ducks, and we can always make one last
Yeah.
to remove those two items and be finished.
I do think it's more probable than not that we have to have it in there, that he's gonna
Mhm.
find that have to act as a governmental agency, so I do think there's something safe to.
And what's the
for
right
the
thing to
other day.
do on behalf of our staff? I would think having it in is desirable for staff.
For sure,
It-
for sure.
And we've always been back and forth with agency, not agency, act as one, don't act, so I personally think you're better off leaving it. You know what I mean? And then-
Is it in now or not?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what I'm leaning towards right now, that's what I
Yeah.
would like to do, but.
Okay,
I am. Doc, you okay with that being in?
Mhm. I'm okay.
any other comments, Rudy, or no? Good,
No,
okay.
no, I think
I
you're
didn't know
good.
if, I'm sensing that you wanted to chime in, okay. We're good.
Well, with that in mind, we can pass a motion recommending that
With
personnel
the change on
handbook.
contact information,
Right, yep.
that's all.
And the July 31st date is still in there, but it'll,
We're good as written currently,
Yes.
right? It's-
Correct.
That is, as is,
everybody good with that? Because we should do a motion, right?
for sure.
Mhm.
Would anyone care to make that motion to adopt as stated? The, I guess it's a personnel handbook?
Yeah, personnel policy and handbook, employee handbook, and with the contact information updated.
Okay, I will make that motion to.
Thank you, Dean. Motion by Dean,
Seconded.
second by ODOC. Any other discussion on that? We've been
No.
working diligently, and
Yes.
thank you, Bill, and your staff.
Sure.
And there is a lot of information, I mean,
Yeah.
there really is a lot of information involved, and there's good reason for it all, and I think you guys did a good job cleaning it up, so.
Thank you to your team, Rudy, on that.
Excellent.
I'll pass
Mike
it
was good to
along.
work with too, yeah, thank you.
I'll call the motion to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. And I'm in favor, so 3 in favor, 2 absent.
Great,
Motion carried.
great.
Thank you. And did we skip over policy review update? Does that have to do with the other policies?
It does, but as you and I discussed, I think we're gonna do it when the chairwoman
Yeah.
comes back. And I guess I'll mention this now, we are scheduled to start, to have meetings at 3 PM before our next several board meetings. But since Ms. Muller is away for this month and next month, I'd like to have her in the mix for this, especially on that piece. So I'd like to cancel the 5/14 meeting and resume in June. We'll start at 3 o'clock. I'll clarify this with
That's
everyone
fine.
and send it to them, but, so we won't have to, like Dr. Ordak, you, for example, won't have to come till 5 next month, so, since you're not on finance, but, so, yeah, and the only other thing was bylaws,
Mhm.
same story. We had approved that before, and although we looked at a number of things, we didn't make no other changes were suggested, so it's already been approved, so that's something we can pass on.
Okay, very good. Any other business need to come before the governance committee for the IDA today? Hearing none, I'd suggest a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn by Dean, second by Doc Odoc. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned at 3:28 PM.